and I had failed on a similar project. So my chimney in my house, it broke down and the motor stopped working, and I was like, it was ages ago, 4 years ago, and I told my dad, I somehow convinced my parents that I would fix it. And I thought that I could fix it by putting a fan, and that's it, and putting a funnel in front of the fan to funnel all the air, to channel all the air to the duct. And then, but it of course did not work out. So I built a ducted system, and in this process, I did not realize that it would be this difficult. And I learned so much, and I want to share my experience with you guys. So I built a ducted system for a very small purpose. The soldering iron, and because I live in a basement, my parents' basement, I need some kind of a ducted system to throw that toxic air out. So let's first talk about the types of fans um, that you can use in a ducted system. So there are two types of fans. One is axial fans, which are the more common ones, where you have a few blades and they rotate around axis and they throw out air. These fans are very common, like the ceiling fan in your room, the table fan on your table. These all are axial fans. The second one is a centrifugal fan, which is a little less common, but if you go and try to find them, you will realize that they're very common as well. They don't come across as obvious fans as because they are enclosed in a shell, and you don't see the motor working, you don't see anything rotating outside. So it's very hard to figure out if it's a fan or not. Now let's talk about the output of the fans. So there are two things that you need to keep in mind about outputs of fans. One is the airflow, and the second one is the static pressure. So most of the axial fans are airflow fans. That's why if you see a ceiling fan, it throws out air, but it's very bad at maintaining pressure. And most of the centrifugal fans are good at maintaining pressure and bad at throwing out air. So, but there are some axial fans that can also maintain some kind of static pressure. So, if you don't know about these two terms, then I suggest you watch some videos and do your research. So, of course, if we are talking about ducts and ducted systems, the best combination to make ducted system is to have a good thick duct, so a large amount of air can flow through it, and have a static pressure fan, and also a fan which can have a good amount of air. But the more important thing is the static pressure. If we reduce the number of bends and curves in our duct, then of course it becomes the resistance offered by the duct to the air flowing through it becomes less, and our ducted system becomes more efficient. And the length also matters. So if you have a smaller ducted system, then it's of course much better. So try and keep the length also smaller. Now let me talk about how my project was different from a traditional ducted system. So I had access to only airflow fans, which are bad, which don't go well with ducted systems. So that was one thing. And my fans were 6 inches in diameter, and my duct was only 4 inches in diameter. So I had to get hacky and somehow fit those fans in with a duct tape around them. It was I learned a lot. Um, I had 3 fans, and 2 of which were 2250 RPM, and one of them was 2500 RPM. And I was also on a budget. I did not have a lot of money to spend on this project. Also, my project was more like an experiment. to find the best placement because I wasn't very sure how an airflow fan would work with a duct, where to place my fans, how to place my fans. So it was more of an experiment as well. The results of this experiment I will talk about in the later half. Actually, now, sorry. So yeah, let's talk about results. So you can see this video. In this video, I have three fans connected, one in the start, one in the middle, and one at the end, and all of them are throwing air in the same direction. Um, so there are three fans, and in the end, my ducted system was capable of throwing out 270 cubic meters of air per hour, and the total power of the system was 75 watts. I'm happy with the results. And one thing that I'd like to share with you guys is the placement of an airflow fan in a duct system. If you don't have any other fan and you need to use a common fan, an airflow fan, an axial fan, which you can just buy anywhere really, then the best placement is towards the end so that the fan is throwing out air from the ducted system and it's creating a low pressure at one end, and there is of course the normal pressure at the other end, so the air would naturally flow this way. The worst placements for these fans are in the middle and in the starting, and they were just so bad that I did not even bother to measure the amount of air that they could throw out. They were barely throwing out any air. My duct system was about 4 meters long, and the fan in the end alone was able to do so much more than these two fans combined. So I think if you are making a ducted system, you should have more fans towards the end. And of course, keep in mind that I'm talking about airflow fans and not static pressure fans or ducted, and not special fans for duct systems. I am not sure how you would place them. Maybe you should read a manual that comes with those fans. But if you want to put an airflow fan in a ducted system, it should be towards the end so that it's creating a low pressure at one end and it would naturally make the airflow out of the duct. And I was on a budget and I couldn't implement these results that I found out. So let me tell you how I would make a duct now after knowing the results that I found out in this experiment. So if I want to place two fans in a duct, then I would do it this way so that both the fans are in the end and both of the fans are throwing out air from my duct system. And these fans, I think this will be more efficient. This system with two fans will be more efficient than my ducted system, which had three fans. So try and implement something of this sort if you are making, if you are doing it yourself, a ducted system. And I think that your ducted system will be more efficient, and yeah, try and reduce the number of bends in your duct. Try and make them more curved, and make the duct as lengthwise as small as possible. So good luck with your ducted system. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you.